So we were sitting with a boy called Elvis, and my other datemate was called Adema. Robai Adema. And then she stained. Elvis refused to sit with us because Adema stained the chair. And he made sure he was removed. He didn't even want that Adema to be. He was removed from our seat.
Who removed him?
See the teacher?
Why would the teacher remove him?
Because he didn't want to sit where there was blood and we had already wiped the seat. He decided to stand all through the lesson. It's like there was a...
What's up, you guys? Welcome back to my channel. So today I'm joined by these two beautiful women or girls. Are you women or girls? Both. And so we'll discuss something very, very interesting. But before I start, they can introduce themselves.
Maureen, Achieng, Joy.
Hey.
Oh, Odem. Odem is not my name, Joy. Plus, you mentioned a name that isn't yours. Must just say your name. Okay. I am Mercy Osok.
So welcome, Mercy. It's the first time for Mercy to to appear on this channel. So welcome, Mercy. We hope to see you more and more and more and more and more. Don't be emotional. So Maureen is my baby for context. Mercy is my friend for the last many years, 19 years. We met early, so that we are old. We just met early. So today we want to talk about menstruation, periods, everything in between. Periods is stigmatized. Menstruation is stigmatized. It's like it's a taboo topic in most homes, in most families, in most gatherings. People are afraid to carry pads. Like, it's just a pad. I find it fascinating when at Stada, have you seen it? When people want to go and change pads, they hide everything inside. And I was like, I always carry my pad kwa mkono yangu. It's not like I've menstruated a lot for the last 4 years anyway. I've always been pregnant for the last four years, but as far as I can remember, I've always carried my pad in my hand. But there was a time that I also felt the stigma. And I think it's something that is always passed down to us from generations. And so in this channel, we want to normalize talking about periods. And so for today, Mercy and Maureen will tell us, and myself will tell us about our first time stories. So who will go first?
Okay, I'll go first. I think I got my first periods around the time when I was in class 6. I think at that time I was 11 years. Yeah, so it happened when I was in school and we were playing. So I think one of the children that we were playing with noticed that I had a stain on my dress.
Yeah?
So they were like, what's happening on your dress? Like, what's going on? And I think around the same time, we had a couple of girls getting their periods for the first time. Mm-hmm. So there was a bit of a craze around it. So they noticed, and I didn't, because I don't think I had had the conversation about menstruation maybe if I had, I didn't take it seriously. So I just ignored it. I ignored until I got home. So when I got home is when I was asking my sisters, okay, fine, what's happening? And I think at that point is when they started to explain, like, you've gotten your first period, this is the first day, this is something that will be happening every month. So they really took me through a bit of counseling on what to expect. And then, of course, I didn't have, like, they brought me the pads, showed me how I'm supposed to place it, how frequently I'm supposed to change. But then again, it depends on the kind of flow I'll be having. So yeah, I think it was a bit weird still because, like, okay, I'm supposed to be wearing a pad throughout. It doesn't seem comfortable.
Yeah. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's how I got through my first time.
But before your first time, you had never heard about periods.
I did, but you see, even as you're taught, because you haven't experienced it,
Yeah.
you're not so keen about it.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, that's interesting. I didn't know that. Maureen.
Live in it, man. It's fun. So my first experience, I think I was in class 7, first term. And then when we went for break, I saw blood. But because of where I was staying, I already knew about periods. But I was scared because in that home, they used to light up the names of everyone who had periods, and we would be given pads together. And because I was still young and I didn't have big breasts, I thought people will laugh at me. So I went and used a mattress.
You used a mattress
Yes, I was
for
scared.
the first month.
Not the first, like just that day. But after,
Where did you get the mattress?
see, there are people who used to susu and they put
You
the
went
mattress
and
outside
told
and I
someone's
went
mattress.
behind the domes and went on.
You told someone's mattress.
And then I used it. But now the problem was at night. We were made to bathe together. All the small girls, we were brought together, one big basin, and then you bathe together. And because my panty had blood, I couldn't bathe with them, so they had to know that I was on my periods. And they gave me pads. But now the problem was that if they know you are on periods, they tell everybody. Yeah.
That you're on period.
Yeah.
So you didn't want people to know.
I didn't want people to know because most of my age mates had not started.
Yeah.
So I didn't want people to know.
So you are just self-stigmatizing. It's not that someone would have stigmatized you, am I?
But they stigmatized me after they knew. They told everyone and the mmoja ushakuwa mtu mkubwa sasa. Unaweza shika mimba.
So what exactly was ashaming? Like what part of people knowing was
Blood
shameful?
coming out and I'm young.
Yeah, the fact that you were still young.
Yes.
Okay. I don't actually remember my first time. I don't remember. And the way my memory works, I think I've blocked off a lot of things over the years. Maybe it's trauma. I don't remember a lot of things, but I guess I was in class 7 or 8, and it happened. Our clothes were very dark, our school clothes. So I think I just went to the loo in the evening and realized there was blood, but I didn't. I think that was the experience, but it's not something so dramatic like tearing someone's mattress.
But mine came, and then I stayed like again for 6 months before starting now afresh.
Oh wow!
So it was. So you
that
got your
happens.
first period, then you didn't get any for the next 6 months, and then now I started like every month.
Is that like a normal thing?
It's That's normal
interesting.
for some people.
Have you had someone who had a similar
Yeah, in the
experience?
home we had so many people who had such experiences.
Also, they start and then it stops.
But my question is, the first time when you had it, it went on for how many days?
I think it was just 2, and then it stopped. Until I thought maybe something had cut me down there because our bathroom had a slab up here, and we used to climb there so that we climb on the roof, and then we jump outside the compound. Kama tunahepa. So one day there's a girl who was on top of the roof, and she fell down on that slab and the next slab, and she started bleeding. So I thought, oh, maybe the way we always play, so something just scratched that place.
What?
So I was not sure
Crushed.
if it was.
Okay. So what is evident within this conversation is that before we had our first period, we were not prepared for what.
But
to-
who gets prepared for periods? Unless you are 18 and above and you've not started.
I think nowadays people talk about
There's a lot
periods.
of conversations around menstruation.
But still, if you get it for the first time, you have to be shaken to know.
Yeah, but then like to how to know what to expect, like know that my vagina did not crash.
Something did not cut me.
It's normal to have your periods at class 6, so it's not
Nowadays
that you're
even
abnormal. Nowadays people have periods even earlier. But have you had like an experience where you are shamed because you had periods? Like maybe you stained and people made fun of you.
Me, no. But in our class, when we were in class 6, we used to sit boy, girl, boy, girl. No, 2 girls, 1 boy. So we were sitting with a boy called Elvis, and my other dexmate was called Adema. Robai Adema. And then she stained. Elvis refused to sit with us because Adema stained the chair. And he made sure he was removed. He didn't even want that Adema to be
Who was removed?
from our seat.
Who removed him?
See the teacher?
Why would the teacher remove him?
Because he didn't want to sit where there was blood and we had already wiped the seat. He decided to stand all through the lesson.
It's like there was a curse.
And Adema was the first person to get periods in our class.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, like, we thought it was something, yeah? So we feared boys knowing that we were on periods.
So how did the girl respond? Adema.
So she was crying, and then they told her to go home. She was a day scholar.
She was told to go home. Oh, because she stained, so to go and clean herself.
But even if she stained, we had dorms.
Yeah.
And we had extra uniform.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I don't know why the teacher told her to go home. And then she came back after she had finished her first periods.
Oh, so she stayed home for the entire period.
I think she was also ashamed because everybody was laughing at her.
So my question is, at that point, like, did your teacher take an initiative to let the whole class know, like,
No.
this is a normal experience?
I think we were being taught about periods by our social workers and dorm mothers and not teachers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So teachers didn't want anything to do with.
And then the social worker was also not teaching those deep things. She will always come, ukilala na kijana na umeanza kutoa damu, hizo nyumba za mabati, kondom itapasuka, ushike mimba.
At class 6, you were being threatened
Yes.
about condoms kupasuka.
So as we knew, if you start your periods and you have sex, you'll be pregnant.
Yeah. So it was mostly scare tactics.
Yeah.
But I don't understand that thing of condoms kupasuka. How was that necessary? You guys are using condoms there.
So she was saying if we go to those boda people who stayed in Mabati,
Oh, yeah.
Mabati houses,
Yeah.
because like most people, the people that surrounded us were boda people. So most girls were dating the boda people.
Okay. Hey, that was sad. That was really sad. No, not the boda part. Like the story of Adema and the boy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so when she came back, did it affect her self-esteem?
But we were still laughing at her. Okay, all of us.
Even the girls.
Yeah. You know, nimeanza mapema.
And then you also went on and
So-
started mapem.
And then you know, we thought that he will start if ukilala na mwanaume, so your parents
Oh,
will.
wow.
So we were like, ama venye unaendaga nyumbani unafanya tabia mbaya.
So I think there was a lot of myths and misconceptions. One on the fact that you had to sleep with someone for you to get your first period. That I have never had. That was a very strange one. Mercy. Have you ever had an embarrassing experience with period?
Okay. None that I can think of at the moment. Yes. Yeah.
I think for me, I think I once stained because I had like a very heavy flow from the beginning. And I remember like I felt embarrassed about it, but the teacher was very, very helpful. So like I was given an opportunity to wash it and to wash the clothes that I had, and then I was able to wear another one. So I always had an extra uniform whenever I was going to school, which is why when Ariela started this thing of extra uniform, Ariela told us that they were told that they need to carry an extra uniform,
pad,
panty, and
uniform.
pad
Wow.
to school
Why?
just to be ready. I don't understand. But maybe personally, I used to carry, but then our uniform was also not that. It was a navy blue uniform, so it never used to show a lot. But like I had an extra one, and so I just washed off that part and then wrapped it and put it in the bag. And the teacher was extremely supportive, but I felt embarrassed about it myself. So I just want us to ask ourselves, how can we make our spaces more friendly for women and girls that are on their periods, and how do we destigmatize the whole period thing? I always say that you don't choose to go on your periods, but it seems like in the eyes of the society, it's your fault when you stain. It's your fault when your pad drops. You see, there are people who are even embarrassed when their pad drops down. Like it's such an embarrassing thing. So I don't know your thoughts around how do we make it easier for girls and women, even in the different spaces that we are at, and also how do we actively contribute toward destigmatizing. So maybe I can start with myself. One of the things that I do is to not be ashamed of carrying a pad. Like for me, a pad is not like, it's not something private. It's not something to keep on hiding. It's not my responsibility to hide the fact that I'm in my periods. If I'm in my periods, I'm in my periods. And I think that has really helped me to even not feel stigma, even when I have an accident, even if something happens. Like for me, it's not something that I am ashamed of. And I'm also very particular about ensuring that the spaces that we are in are more supportive to girls and women. So like for example, I buy pads for my house helps and nannies. I always have a pad to give. Like Maureen normally comes and asks. Even when I'm pregnant, she always find a pad.
See, because pads must be there.
So I'm always very intentional about carrying pads, having pads around so that I'm able to help other people. The first time I visited the States, it's something that I still want to see how to implement. The first time I went to the States, I found a bathroom that was full of tampons and pads and painkillers and what, like I was shocked. And then I'm like, can we implement that? And I'm like, someone would just carry all the
All of
tampons
them.
and pads.
Plus the painkillers.
Everything.
So I'm working on how do we remove the scarcity mentality so that I implement such kinds of things in our workplace. Like, it was really nice. There was a lot of tampons, a lot of pads and painkillers. Like, it was very shocking to me because, like, that's just a culture shock. And I hope that we move there for everyone. I don't know if there's someone that wants to add.
I think for me is because people get different first experiences, and different people, like different women, go through like different difficulties even with their periods. Like, you might meet someone who says, me, I don't even mark my calendar. Like, I wouldn't even know when my next period is going to be.
Yeah.
Because they're light, it's easy, like it doesn't interfere with your day to day. But then you get to meet some other people that when they're on their periods, like,
It's hard on them.
you're having nausea, you're cramping, maybe you can't even eat anything, you're on multiple painkillers. So I think there's need for conversations around like different experiences with the periods, because you might find some workplaces that I've never gotten women that really have difficulty when they're on their periods, and then they get one that maybe is suffering from really bad cramps, like they can't come to work. They cannot, but because they've never heard of such experiences and difficulties with periods, they'll say, huyu maybe anajifanya,
Ni lazy.
you're lazy, why are you asking for time off? Like, there's nothing like that.
Yeah.
You can't be taking sick offs when you're actually supposed to be at work. It's like you're faking the situation. While there are women out there that really have difficulties with their periods. Like, they even like cringe, like every time they see, oh, now it's come again. Yeah, so I think there's also need for such conversations across board.
Yeah, and I think there are countries where there's leave days for women when they're on their periods, which I think is very progressive. And also, like, Stada is a non-profit. If you have not heard of Stada, scroll below, you will see. We have tried to implement policies around when you are menstruating and you can't come to work, then you just call in and manage your periods before you can come. And maybe we need to have a conversation around endometriosis and some of the things, realities of women, because I feel the society is at times very far off removed from the realities of women, especially on endo and such like things. Like, people think you're pretending, and I think it's a conversation that we truly need to have. That's a very good point. Maureen?
For me, now that I work in SADA and we deal with pads, what I do most is when I go to schools to distribute pads, we involve the boys so that they may know about periods and everything to do with periods, so that they may not stigmatize the girls.
Yeah. So boys as allies. I think that's also a really, really good point. So these are our first time stories, but then we also understand that currently we are coming off from a place of privilege. I don't think any one of us can say that we can't afford pads, but you can't afford.
I can afford.
Yeah. So no one of us in this set can say like we cannot afford. And our hearts truly go out to women who still use mattresses. Not out of embarrassment, but like that's the only choice that they have. I even had like this sad story of people sitting on soil. Dirty clothes, rags,
But
cotton.
there are women who don't use pads too. They don't use anything that is manufactured.
Yeah, so that's
It's
the thing.
their
It's a
religion.
cultural issue as well. There are women that culturally they can't use pads, which is why when people say, why are you making reusable sanitary towels? Because we do make reusable sanitary towels as starter pads, which Maureen can talk about. But there are women that we have met that say that that is a lifesaver for them because they are not allowed culturally to use manufactured pads. Some women still don't have access, and so we try to reach out to people to be able to purchase reusable sanitary towels so that you can distribute to vulnerable girls and women, mostly in the rural areas, because to some people, even these conversations they cannot truly have because they don't even have choices. Like for us in this set, we can say we can use a tampon, we can use a pad, we can use a reusable sanitary towel, menstrual cup, all this, but there are people who don't have choices, so they only have rags to use, and it's not hygienic to use them. And so we'll have a conversation around what you are doing at starter pads, but Maureen will be able to guide that discussion because she heads that department and is very passionate about reusable pads. But that will be on our next conversation. If there's something that resonated with you out of this video, please do share with us. I don't know whether there's anything else you guys want to add. So if there's any comment, anything you resonate with, any other addition that you'd like to tell us, if you want to tell us your first experience, if you want to come on set and be a part of this conversation, karibu sana. Until next time, bye.
Bye.